It is now time for me to reveal the biggest secret of this show. What did I think of the Hobbit Trilogy? As you all know, I am a big fan of Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings is my favorite movie, at least as a complete series. I mean, Modern Times is technically my favorite movie, but suppose if you consider them all one part, it would be my favorite film. And the Lord of the Rings books are like in fourth place is my favorite book. And yeah, I am a big fan of Lord of the Rings. And a question that's been just spreading across the internet like wildfire is, what do I think of the Hobbit trilogy? You know, people typing all around the world, China, India, Denmark, where for some reason my show is incredibly popular. And I'm about to reveal it to all of you, what I think of this. And it might surprise you. You might not be getting the answer that you think you're going to get. But let's look at all three, and I'm going to go ahead and just judge them all based on each movie, how I felt they did. So, the worst film for me, without question, was The Unexpected Journey, the first one of the series. It was so bad that I considered not watching the other ones. And I guess I did enjoy it. I thought it was a good little adventure story. There's plenty of good action scenes and stuff, and I liked some of the effects. But I don't know. For me, the problem was, with the book, you get one obstacle, it's trolls, and then you get even bigger obstacle with like an army of goblins. They keep going up and up. Just it's not like cat, mouse, and then another cat. It's mouse, cat, and then dog. You know, it has levels in the book, but in the movie, it's just scattered all over the place, and it's very confusing to me. So definitely The Unexpected Journey is my least favorite. Now, The Desolation of Smaug is actually one that I thought went really well. In fact, I almost think that it might be as good as the original Lord of the Rings trilogy. There's a lot of intense moments in there. There'll always be people that say it was a bad movie, and I do admit it seemed a lot like a video game in a lot of parts. I don't know why that was, but I don't care. It was still fun. I loved it. I thought it reminded me of going to see the Lord of the Rings movie, and unlike the other ones, it actually kind of follows the books pretty well. They do add a few scenes, but it seemed like they were following the book a lot more with this movie. I don't know. It was a lot better than the other ones of justifying the added scenes that they put in there. So The Desolation of Smaug is one that I think is just the one that comes closest to being the Lord of the Rings. The Battle of the Five Armies is better than The Unexpected Journey, for sure. I guess there's just a lot of war scenes in this movie, and I can't really say it reminded me of The Return of the King, but I don't know. I mean, I thought the ending was really sweet. They technically were better than the original trilogy's ending, and, you know, the scene with Bilbo and Gandalf smoking a pipe, I thought that part was really good to me. I don't think the movie was as complete a disaster as people try to make it out as, but then again, I can't honestly say that I really was super thrilled by it. It didn't strike me as the same as The Lord of the Rings, or even as close to being as good. So now I'm going to do things a little different. I'm going to just base the entire trilogy as a whole. Just look at it all and look at all that they did. And this is just basically looking at all three movies to see whether they're better or even close to The Lord of the Rings. First, there is a lot of added scenes in here from the book, and that's okay, you know, you can move away from the book, but none of it seems important. I mean, it has no part to the story, really. It's just in there to be in there. The whole thing with Gandalf and Saruman, and just all those added scenes with the little wizard, and I actually did like Gandalf's brother and that sleigh of rabbits. I thought that was kind of cool. I know a lot of people think that's stupid. I thought it was kind of fun, but yeah, there's no reason for this to be three movies. There was just no reason. There is no excuse for this. They did not make it justified at all. It was a stupid decision on their part. And honestly, I wouldn't have minded if they had just done 2 films. I would not have complained about that. I didn't mind it when they did it with Harry Potter or The Hunger Games. I wouldn't have minded it here. In fact, I think it would make sense. That's a pretty big book. It'd be nice to cut it into 2 parts. And I think it could work. But 3 films is just too much, and it just didn't work at all. But there were good things to the movies, some good action scenes, some good acting on the part of Bilbo, and I honestly thought they made the dwarves and all of those characters much more interesting than they were in the books. In the books, they're just all kind of bland. So, yeah, I've heard people say that it improved on the book, and in some ways it did. But I can't say that it was as good as the book, or even as good as The Lord of the Rings. Definitely not that. So, what's my final verdict on these movies? I guess I enjoyed them. I enjoyed them as much as I would any other action movie. It wasn't as exceptional, though, as The Lord of the Rings. It just didn't have that epicness. I'll go and watch one scene from The Lord of the Rings, and it will just seem so powerful. And I'll watch a scene from The Hobbit and just feel like it was just much quicker and just rushed over. And with the exception of the desolation of Smaug, I never did get that true Lord of the Rings feeling, or even the feeling that it was an exceptionally good movie. But yeah, I don't think the Hobbit Trilogy is anything to lose your mind about. They're all right. It could have been a lot worse. We could have got the Star Wars prequels, which I personally do not like. I like it on my... Never mind. But anyways, that is my opinion on the Hobbit Trilogy. Please let me know if you agree in the comments. And as always, think big, think different.